What's up guys, I'm Taylor with TK Disc Golf and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are talking about Gyropalooza 2025, and for the first time in over 5 years the MVP Gyronauts were able to bombard the doors of MVP HQ in person and getting to check out all the cool goodies that they had in store for us. So today we're going to be talking about what all went down, the pros, the cons, and some of the things I'd like to see changed for next year. So without further ado, let's take a look. Now, for those of you that might not be familiar with what the Gyropalooza event is, I do want to kind of go into the rich history of the event, because in 2015, that was the first time the MVP fans had gotten together as a group to just have a good time, throw around a disc golf, and just chit-chat and exchange plastic. And Brad and Chad actually showed up to the event. It was about 45 minutes from HQ. They showed up, played the rounds with us, and then after the round, they were like, hey, do you guys want to come to HQ? And we're like, yes. So we showed up at headquarters, had a good time, and that's kind of what snowballed into what Gyropalooza is today. And 2016 was a fan meetup, and then 2017 was the first Gyropalooza that was officially with that name. Then we had 2018, 2019, and then in 2020, obviously we know that COVID happened, and that kind of put a halt on having in-person gatherings. And then 2021, James Conrad hits the holy shot after signing with MVP just that year, wins Worlds, and their exponential growth after that has been insane. And it's just been a rapid growth, trying to keep up with production and getting fans back into the headquarters, especially with the massive expansion they just came down with a couple years ago. It wasn't quite possible. 2025 now, 5 years after the last time the Gyronauts were able to get together, they finally had enough breathing room and they invited us back in limited capacity. Obviously, they had the golden ticket winners. They did a online sweepstakes to get the others in, and then they invited retailers and Team MVP, which is how I was able to get in. And there was about over 500 of us. I think the highest ticket number I saw was like 546 or something like that. So I would say between 500 and 600 was about what it was between employees, the artists, the team members, and then all the attendees as well. Now, with the brief history lesson out of the way, I want to give you a rundown of everything that happened at Gyropalooza 2025, because there was a lot. We were there from about 9 o'clock in the morning until 7 was when they started trying to usher people out. So it was a long day, but a lot of fun stuff. First and foremost, Team MVP was there and in full force. Not just the touring team, but tons of other Team MVP members across the entire spectrum, including myself. So with the touring team, I mean, pretty much everybody that was US based was there, and we also had Silva Sarin, and that was pretty sick to have her there as well. We had Eagle, we had Simon, Big Germ, Raven, we had Sarah Holcomb, Madison Walker was there, and then Elaine King. If I missed any of the other touring players, I'm sorry. But then a ton of the other Team MVP. I think in total there was probably about 30, 35 of us. I didn't get a quick head count, but it was really, really fun. I know the dinner the night before, there was 20 of us there, so that was really, really sweet. Aside from all the team members that were able to attend this year, the Fly Mart was probably the biggest and best that they have done out of all the Gyropaloozas that I've been to. In years past, they had maybe like a dozen or so boxes for us to dig to, but this one, man, every single box was packed through some of the swirliest plastics, the prettiest pearly proton stuff. They had event exclusives out the ears. I mean, there was a dozen event exclusives that I can think of off the top of my head that were there. And then not only that, but they had multiple boxes of lab seconds with some insane just goodies, like really strange stuff like the Electron Lift. I saw the Prism Rim time lapses. There was some bouquets or bokeh, however you want to say it. Those were mixed in there, and a couple boosts. So some really cool Easter egg discs snuck into the lab second boxes, so that was pretty cool to see as well. But the main reason that everybody comes to Gyropalooza is the ability to actually have access to the warehouse. It's so cool to be able to just roam the aisles and just be at HQ. I mean, that's a very rare thing to do. There's like no other manufacturer out there that allows their fans to come to HQ and just check it out and hang out and have a good time. And it's just a pretty rare thing. So really, really cool to be able to roam the aisles. They had cool putting contests set up in the aisles to be able to go head to head with a pro. So if you came up at the top of the leaderboards by the end of the day, you could go head to head with Simon, or head to head with James Conrad or Raven, or even Silva if you were on the FPO women's side. So it was just really, really cool to see these people that grinded out putting all day, trying to get to the top of the leaderboards, seeing those numbers tick up, and all of a sudden by the end of the day, you are literally going head to head with your heroes. So that was really, really cool. One of the kids was like 15 years old, team MVP, was able to take down James Conrad after an insane long head to head sudden death round. They made it through all the stages, and then by the end, he was just banging 30-footer after 30-footer along with James, and James finally missed one, and then this kid was just able to come up with the most clutch 30-footer I've ever seen, the icing on the cake. They had other activities set up in the aisles as well. They had the tech disc set up that was pretty cool to be able to try to recreate the holy shot. You're able to do a driving range as well to see what your RPM on your throw was, what your max speed was. Tyler was able to hit, I think, like 65 mile an hour and 1100 RPM. I don't know if that's any good or not, but I mean, he throws farther than me usually, so that probably explains why. I was only hitting in the high 50s, so yeah, it explains why he throws farther, because he absolutely whips those discs. Another tradition that's happened every year at Gyropalooza is being able to stamp your own disc at HQ. They've got the OG machine set up, and this year we actually got to do something different. It was a bottom stamp, so the Gyropalooza stamp on the bottom of the 10-year Neutron Wave. And a fun little tidbit that I didn't get to mention already is the first MVP fan meetup in 2015 was when the Neutron Wave and the Neutron Photon were first released. We knew it was coming. It was about a month out, and they showed up with a box of those things and passed them out to all the attendees of the fan meetup. So we got the first official first run Neutron Waves and Photons. So fun that the 10-year Neutron Wave was one of the first discs we got to stamp at the reoccurrence of Gyropalooza. They had a ton of cool pieces of history on display as well. I think the coolest one though was the case that they built for the original mold of the first run Ion, and they were able to put that in there on display. Really, really cool. A lot of people have never seen one in person, so the fact that they had the original mold and the disc on the inside, super, super neat. But one of the cool things about participating in the Guess the Mold with Eagle or putting contests in the aisles was the fact that they gave you out gyro bucks for competing in these things, and at the end of the day at 5 o'clock you're able to cash in those gyro bucks and put them into raffle prizes. They had a ton of baskets, or not baskets, they had a ton of bags to give away, a couple rover carts, but the cool event was the Joes versus Pros event that took place on Sunday. I was not able to get access to that because we had to go home, but our friends Josh with Daddy Disc Golf and his buddy were able to attend that. They had won the raffle, and they sent us some pretty cool epic videos. They got to play with Big Germ, they got to play with Simon. So man, that would have been a cool event to attend, but we had to duck out of town for that. Now, obviously, there was a lot of fun stuff they were able to pack into the day, and the difficulty of putting an event of this scale together is just insane. Having 500-something people show up to your warehouse and trying to keep it fun, exciting, and safe, and just all around accommodating for everybody is an insane task. It took them months and months and months, if not over a year's worth of planning, just to ensure that this event went off without a hitch, and I think they nailed that to a T. There are some things I do want to point out that are easy fixes for next year to make the event even better, so I will call them cons, but the advantage and the good thing is that these cons are very easy to fix in my opinion. So first and foremost, I think the biggest one that everybody noticed was the amount of lines that they had for their Pro Shop or the Fly Mart drops, because there was some really cool and super hype discs that they had dropping throughout the day, and they had the drops spaced about every 2 hours or so. So pretty much if there was a disc you wanted at 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock, some people were getting in line early, and then by the time you got through the line, they were like, well, now we have to stand in line again to try to grab the next disc. And to be honest, I feel like this could have been alleviated easily. First and foremost, that fix would have been just do like 2 drops. Have the Tour Series disc drop first and then the rest of it drop second, because you know everybody's going to be buying pretty much one of everything. And what they easily could have done as well is just have it limit 1 per person for the entire day, and then around 5 o'clock like they did, just open it up and do unlimited purchases for the ones that they wanted to do. Doing it this way would have allowed a lot more time for people to mingle, do more of the activities, and just do more shenanigans. You know, they had a really nice open area with some baskets, and then the massive event horizon thing. I mean, this thing was like 20 foot tall by 40 foot wide. It was huge, and there was just a lot of time where like no one was putting or using that because they were in line trying to get the next drop. And I'm like, man, they could have consolidated it a little bit better. But again, that's a small thing that they could have easily fixed, and then that would be much better for next year. Another thing I will point out for the lines is at least get like the team members involved. Like Germ is such a type A personality. It'd be really fun for him to just be walking up and down the lines with like a microphone, kind of like some of the social media stuff you see where you just put the mic in someone's face and ask them a question. Just fun stuff like that, or just being able to have the team members mingle around, because the autograph signing line, I mean, they got through the line pretty quick, but I'd see the line build back up again, and I would see some of the same people in it. I feel like a lot of people are going back up for second stuff and third stuff, going to their cars like, I want to get my baby, or I want to get my potato chips bag or whatever signed by Simon, and it's just like, get through the line once, get your disc or two signed, and move on, and let the team members have a break and actually mingle with everybody, have some meaningful conversations and stuff if they want to. That would have been a little bit more meaningful than having them sit around for, I don't know how long they were there. I mean, they were signing for probably at least 3 hours or so. That's a really, really long day. So I mean, hats off to them. They seem to keep their spirits up and stuff. But I feel like after the first hour and a half or so, maybe 2 hours, they're pretty much a lot of people were just getting back in line for it. Another negative that I heard from a couple different people was the prices on some of the discs at the Fly Mart. I feel like they were a little bit on the higher side. They were charging MSRP maybe, whereas they're used to their local retailer charging minimum pricing. So maybe that was the disconnect. I'm not sure. But things like the Proton Echo, for whatever reason, those were priced at like $20 or something, when you can go on the Pro Shop's website and buy some pretty cool custom stamped ectos for about $15 or so. So like, it was like only like $3 to $5 extra on some of this stuff. I mean, I understand the prototypes being more expensive, $25, $30. I mean, I think the Beam was $30, but that's a true like alpha level prototype. So I mean, that makes a little more sense to me. But some of the just general stuff that had Gyropalooza stamp on it, like, I don't know why they were charging a little bit of a premium for those. And the last of the cons, I think, is probably the hardest fix, because it's more for my sake and the OG's sake as well, because the fans that are newer to MVP and came to Gyropalooza for the first time wouldn't have even noticed it was a thing. But the events in the past, there was actually an event in the morning. So you would show up to Marlette Disc Golf Course, play around in the morning, and then go to HQ. And the amount of mob golf shenanigans we got to get into, it was unsanctioned. It was just all hysterical fun. I mean, we had like a mob golf of like 10 people in 2018, I think, was on our card, just having a good time, laughing, 4-hour round, but who cares? We were having a good time and just sharing stories about our favorite brand and just life in general. And I think that's something that really helped boost the spirits of Gyropalooza, and that's something that was missing this year. I think they could replace that with the Pros versus Joes thing that they did on Sunday. If they're able to move that to the Saturday or something like that, just have it down the street. Not everybody gets to throw, obviously, but at least have a mob of a couple hundred people watching the event in person, and then be able to talk with each other and try to razz the pros as they're trying to line their shots off. That would be awesome, man. And I think that event was cool, but they didn't really publicize it as well. So I saw some footage and it looked like there was a good amount of people there, but a lot of people were already leaving on Sunday and weren't able to attend. So I wish they would either have it on Saturday or have it on Friday, but at least announce it ahead of time so people can plan their schedule accordingly to attend. But again, all these cons, I feel like they have easy solutions, so it's not really me complaining about them. This is just some of the few things that people had pointed out online or said to me in person, but really no one was like complaining about it, man. Like, everybody was just really, really having a good time, and pretty much anybody that I walked to and had meaningful conversation with, when asked them what they thought of the event, they were just over the moon to be at HQ. It was like, yeah, there was some standing in line, but they were able to make the best of it. They were able to communicate with the people next to them and have just good time, talk about their favorite molds, just share stories, make new friends. And that's part of the magic of Gyropalooza. It wasn't really lost. I mean, obviously we weren't able to play a round of disc golf together, but a lot of people were able to make some new friends while waiting on some of these drops. So these easy changes make the drops a little less frequent, bundled them together a little better, so we have more time to hang out in HQ. I think that's going to clean that up no problem for next year. But overall, I'm beyond impressed with what they were able to put together for Gyropalooza 2025. What MVP team was able to do is just mind-blowing. I mean, the amount of cool stuff they had for us to do. They got all the pros in town, the amount of cool product that they were able to give us access to, and just being in HQ, man, it's such a special experience, and you just got to be there to truly understand what it's like. I'm really, really looking forward to next year, and I think they're going to be able to exceed what they did this year, because they wanted to start at a baseline with the first year back in over 5 years, and they wanted to underpromise and overdeliver, and I think they did that perfectly. So to finish off, I've got to give a thank you to two separate groups of people. First and foremost, to MVP, Brad, Chad, and the entire team. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to not only make these videos for you guys, but trusting me with the badge of honor, Team MVP, and your company on my back. Like, it's so, so cool to be able to support you guys and to see the growth that you guys have done over the past over 10 years that I've known you. 2011 was the first year I picked up a disc. 2012 was the first MVP disc that I ever purchased. And then 2013 was the first time that we ever interacted on Facebook. And it's just been an incredible growing process. So to you guys, thank you so much. And and it's insane. And then secondly, I have to give a shout out to the TK Disc Golf fans. Like, I honestly don't realize how many of you are until you're at an event like that where everybody kind of knows who you are. It's like pretty interesting, actually. Like, we got 4,000 subscribers on this channel. That's like a really big number, and I kind of lose sight of the massiveness of that until you show up to an event and everybody's talking to you and knows who you are. And it was just honestly pretty cool to be able to talk with so many of you and have some pretty meaningful conversations. I mean, there was like a dozen or so of you that came up, introduced yourselves, and we were able to talk, but there was so many more of you where, like, I was standing in line at the Fly Mart and you guys are just handing me orange discs because you know that that's my thing. And I was like kind of chuckling to myself. I was like, I don't need to buy all these, but thanks for showing them to me. So again, thank you to all the fans of your support over the past 10 years. This is the 10-year anniversary of TK Disc Golf. Tyler and I started this in 2015. And it's just been incredible. So again, thank you for watching this quick recap of Gyropalooza 2025. If you made it all the way to the end, I don't know what else to tell you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we've got lots of cool videos to continue to do this year. So we'll see you on the next one.